Tiny Tim, a name that evoked curiosity and intrigue, was an eccentric figure in the world of music and entertainment. He became a cultural icon, known for his unique voice, peculiar appearance, and a style all his own. This video delves into the remarkable life and career of Tiny Tim, shedding light on the many facets that made him unforgettable. Join Facts First as we present tragic details about Tiny Tim that came out after his death. Early life and background. Tiny Tim, born Herbert Khaury on April 12, 1932 in New York City, had an early life marked by both modesty and eccentricity. Raised in a working-class family, he grew up in Washington Heights. His parents, Boutros and Tilly Khaury, were of Lebanese and Polish descent respectively, and their modest means provided a contrasting backdrop to Tiny Tim's future flamboyance. But early on, Herbert exhibited an affinity for music and showmanship. His family recalled his fascination with records and his penchant for imitating the stars of the time. But his parents encouraged him to focus on more practical pursuits than the arts. One of the most pivotal moments in his life was the adoption of his stage name, Tiny Tim. Inspired by Charles Dickens' character from A Christmas Carol, he chose the moniker, hinting at the quirkiness that later defined his career. Musical career beginnings. Tiny Tim's eclectic taste in music was influenced by various genres and eras. He was particularly drawn to the music of the early 20th century, including vaudeville, Tin Pan Alley, and early American pop songs. His deep appreciation for these vintage sounds became a hallmark of his style. His first foray into the world of performance took place in Greenwich Village clubs in New York City in the 60s. These intimate venues allowed him to showcase his distinctive voice, characterized by a high falsetto, which immediately set him apart from other performers of the time. His big break came in the late 60s when he was discovered by producer Richard Perry. His debut album, God Bless Tiny Tim, featuring the iconic rendition of Tiptoe Through the Tulips with Me, catapulted him to stardom. The album's success was followed by appearances on popular television shows like The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson and Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. Unique mannerisms and appearance. Tiny Tim's unmistakable presence extended far beyond his musical talent. His eccentric mannerisms and outlandish appearance were integral to his persona and contributed to his fame. He was known for his flamboyant and eccentric fashion sense. He often donned Victorian-era clothing, including ruffled shirts, velvet jackets, and top hats. This anachronistic style further emphasized his timeless and whimsical image. Perhaps the most distinctive aspect of Tiny Tim's performance, though, was his high-pitched falsetto voice. This unique vocal quality set him apart from his contemporaries and made his renditions of classic songs instantly recognizable. On stage, his eccentricities were on full display. He engaged in unconventional dance moves, strummed his ukulele with enthusiasm, and interacted intimately with his audience. His performances were a delightful mix of music and comedy, creating an unforgettable live experience. While some dismissed him as a novelty act, others admired his fearless embrace of his unique persona. Personal hygiene practices. Tiny Tim's personal hygiene practices were as idiosyncratic as the rest of his persona, adding to the mystique and intrigue that surrounded him. One of the most notorious aspects of his hygiene was his preference for unconventional grooming practices. He was known for rarely washing his long curly hair and sometimes going years without a bath. This peculiar approach to personal hygiene became a subject of fascination and speculation among both fans and the media. Various theories emerged. Some believed he deliberately embraced this unorthodox lifestyle to maintain his unique image and stand out. Others speculated it was a manifestation of his overall nonconformist philosophy, emphasizing individuality and disregard for societal norms. While some found it endearing, others were repelled by it. Nevertheless, it added another layer to the mystique of the artist, reinforcing the idea that he was unapologetically himself. Religious inclinations. Tiny Tim was a devout Christian who adhered to the teachings of the Bible. He often spoke about his strong religious convictions and credited his faith as a source of guidance and strength throughout his life. His deep spirituality influenced many aspects of his personal and professional life. Tiny Tim's faith was reflected in his music. He often sang gospel and hymnal songs, incorporating religious themes into his performances. His album, Tiny Tim's Christmas Album, featured traditional Christmas carols and religious songs, highlighting his connection to his Christian beliefs. His religious inclinations were not limited to his music. His faith also played a significant role in shaping his worldview and interactions with others. He was known for his charitable work and often used his platform to advocate for Christian values and morals. Political leanings. Tiny Tim's political views were as unconventional and unpredictable as the rest of his persona. Throughout his career, he made several forays into the political landscape, often taking stances that defied categorization. His political beliefs were eclectic and sometimes contradictory. At times, he expressed conservative views, advocating for traditional values and morals, which aligned with his strong Christian faith. But he also held liberal positions on social issues, such as his support for LGBTQ rights, which was notably progressive for his era. He didn't limit his political involvement to just voicing his opinions either. He occasionally participated in political events and rallies, using his fame to draw attention to various causes. His involvement in activism, particularly in the 60s and 70s, showcased his willingness to use his platform to advocate for issues he felt passionate about. He was a political enigma, often defying traditional political labels and expectations. Romantic life and relationships. Tiny Tim was known for his multiple marriages, the most famous of which was his televised wedding to Miss Vicky on The Tonight Show in 1969. This marriage captivated the nation and showcased his unusual love life. He had a total of 3 marriages and fathered one daughter, Tulip Victoria, with Miss Vicky. He also had several notable romantic partners, including Susan Gardner and Jan Alewice. His relationships were often scrutinized by the media and the public given his unconventional image and lifestyle. His bizarre death and his legacy. Tiny Tim's life came to a bizarre and tragic end, leaving an indelible mark on his legacy. On November 30th, 1996, he was performing at a ukulele festival in Massachusetts when he suffered a heart attack on stage. Despite being rushed to the hospital, he passed away shortly after at the age of 64. His death, while doing what he loved, performing for an audience, added a surreal element to his life story. Tiny Tim's passing deeply affected his devoted fan base and the entertainment world. His legacy endures. He continues to be celebrated through documentaries, biographies, and tributes from fellow artists. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think we'll ever see an artist quite as eccentric as Tiny Tim again? Let us know in the comments section below.